Pleasure. Pleasure. How are you, my dear? Oh, pleasure. Very well, thanks. Very well, thank you. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy yourself, yeah. Okay, Shalom Rab. Okay, of course. תמונות של החיילים היו מאחורי האירופים. הם צולמו, ראית? רגע, אתה איתה. החיילים נכנסו בתוך ה... היה רעיון טוב מאוד. ואז אני אעבור לצבא. רגע, איפה בהחלט, אני לא אמרתי שום דבר רע. President of the Parliament, what's have we done? Once again, we have said shalom, but we didn't know whom we are talking to. And now it is a real pleasure having you with us. Real pleasure, Mama. I think it's very important. Welcome. Welcome to us. Welcome. Welcome. You are so Excellent. Excellent. I don't understand Russian or your wishes. Yeah. Send him my best regards. Thank you. Oh, excellent. Speak to your country. Speak to your country. Speak up. Speak of the president of the parliament. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so very much for coming. בין הרב הראשי לישראל. עכשיו אני שולח
ישירות, וגם אליו.
לכל המשפחה.
תודה רבה.
אל תדאג.
Of course.
סליחה, דוברת.
זה קצת חריף פה.
מרק אחורה קצת.
גברת, תראה טלפון.
הלו.
קצת.
Thank you for coming. And we are very, very appreciating the very idea that you are here with us, and we have a great pleasure.
Same to you.
And the same honor. Thank
Same
you.
to you.
Thank you. Enjoy yourself, please.
נשיא ארמניה.
Pleasure and honor to have you with us. Welcome. Every time, again and again. Thank you. And we share the same. We share the same. Of course. And I'm always. Every year I was on the podium to remind people about the fest. Excellent. It is a real great pleasure and honor to have you with us.
Very happy tonight and tomorrow.
Enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much.
It is a mutual pleasure. Please,
Yes.
thank you so very much for coming. Thank you so very much for coming.
Thank you.
Please enjoy yourself. People from the north, from the far north. And you brought us the weather,
Yes.
which is very important for us.
Might even snow tomorrow, I hear.
It could be. And tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, yes.
No, during tomorrow morning in the noon it would be just okay. But
Excellent.
in the evening we will have snow.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Wie viele Sachen? כולם מחכים ומצפים לראות.
שלום. 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 שלום.
זוזו לנו.
זוזו, חברים, סליחה.
אנחנו אחורה.
קובי, תזכור אותנו, קובי. כן.
שוב.
Pleasure. It is. You are a representative of the United States. And we are honored that you are here. We'll have breakfast tomorrow. Talk all about it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much.
My pleasure to be
Yeah. I'll meet your husband tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a bad surprise. I didn't know before yesterday. Жалею, что вы не состыковались с нашими спецами. Обязательно. Но вы просто такой молодец, что вы приехали.
А ты сфотографировал?
Пойду еще с коллегам тоже скажу.
Да, чтобы он подъехал к входу, когда это минут, чтобы он шампану убирать. Сезонных там оставил. Не, они тоже так. Ничего, у нас все нормально, я здесь стою, так что я...
Pleasure. Everything is a pleasure and honor for all of us. Thank you so very much for coming, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you. Enjoy yourself.
Excellency, may I thank you for the guest?
לא, 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 ממש לא. תעשו בעבודתכם. אבא, אבל שלא יעברו פה מול...
Thank you so very much. Welcome and enjoy yourself.
This is the most important thing.
No, die ganz Edelstein. Das war der Motiv. Wie ist denn die
מה אתה פתוח שתהיה עבודה?
Governor General of Canada, Speaker of Knesset Mr. President. The Austrian President, the Governor General of Canada. למה אנחנו לא יכולים להיות חופשיים? למה אנחנו יכולים להיות חופשיים כמו עולם? למה תגיד למה הוא לא מפריע לך? מה אנחנו? 3 צלמים? אנחנו 4 צלמים? אנחנו יכולים שהחבק בינינו? לא.
לא, אני אומר... לפה, הרב לאו.
Look at this.
איך אומרים להגיד?
Ja już tak to podejrzeć. Najpierw mnie nigdy nie kupił. To w zasadzie...
Ja, certo.
Thank you.
Mr. Gantz may present His Majesty
Where are you from? Sir, how are you? I'm fine. Hello. How are you?
Guests, good evening and welcome. You are invited to the second part of the evening in the main hall.
Very nice to meet you.
Good evening and welcome. You are invited to the second part of the evening in the main hall.
Thank you. Great honor.
Thank you so much. I'm the king of How far is on the way?
It's almost we could not which exactly, I mean, I had the opportunity to take a couple of videos produced and then my Spanish friends are taller than the Dutch. I don't know what they That makes you soul and me native.
Of course, the king. You want the king.
Yeah, absolutely.
Time for me to have the opportunity to have
1 second, please. 1 second, please.
two talking.
Wonderful. You know that Spain and the Netherlands will support you on both sides all the time. You can lean on us, I think. I can speak for you.
You are the most
Let's go for the touchy subjects here. No more. Well, now we get into political waters here.
The intermittent of Israel over the Thank you.
They speak a fluent accent. Very nice to meet you, man, speaker. Yes, the style, yes. Well, something else happening on the hill right now. But fast forward just as time to take. Very good. And see you again.
Good evening and welcome. You are invited to the second part of the evening in the main hall.
February and March.
Your Majesties, Your Excellencies, if you could kindly please take your seats as we are about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Majesties, Your Excellencies, we would kindly ask you to take your seats so we can begin the evening.
You know that we are training on the hills. Hello. I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, would you kindly take your seats?
Please do. Hello. And I know that your God is good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello.
Alan, Commissioner General. Long time no see. Thank you. No, it's okay.
Now you have the
Your Royal Highnesses, distinguished guests, good evening and Erev Tov. Welcome to the State Dinner in honor of the 5th World Holocaust Forum, hosted by the President of the State of Israel, His Excellency Reuven Ruvi Rivlin. The world leaders invited to this forum have each contributed a personal message on the theme of remembering the Holocaust, combating anti-Semitism, to a special commemorative work. We will begin tonight's program by screening a compilation of these personal messages.
World War II, the Holocaust. Humanity reaches its lowest point. The Nazis and their collaborators annihilate 1/3 of the Jewish people. And the Nazis' doctrine of racial hate cost the lives of tens of millions around the world. 75 years later, Jerusalem, capital of the State of Israel, the leaders of the world have come together to declare, never again.
The Shoah is a self-inflicted wound that has never entirely healed. It is not only part of German history, but also an awareness that guides us in the present day. An unparalleled crime against a people, Jewish people. The Auschwitz concentration camp became one of the symbols of human cruelty. A testament to the infernal abyss into which mankind can plunge itself. Even after 75 years, the suffering is still here, alive. We must not defer on or doubt the horror of the Holocaust. An irreparable and lasting damage to Latvia's society as a whole. The Holocaust is the biggest tragedy in the history of humankind.
We are summoned to commemorate, remember, and honor all those that we will forever miss. It is our duty to remember the depths to which humanity can fall. We must resolve that the memory of the millions who perished is passed down to future generations. Ukraine is committed to preserve the memory of the Holocaust victims. It is necessary not only to remember the heinous events of World War II, but also every single victim murdered. The memory of the Holocaust and World War II must be a warning for us and our descendants. We who celebrate freedom today must be the voice for all the victims. We honor those who stood up against the tyranny. The rescue of the Danish Jews offered a ray of hope in the darkness. To remember is to learn from the past, no matter how hard it may be.
As its horrors fade from memory, the old anti-Semitism has now joined a new anti-Semitism. Racism, anti-Semitism, and hatred have no place in Europe. The persecution of Jews is still happening here and now. Anti-Semitism is flaring up again, eventually paving the way to violent acts. Anti-Semitism is showing again its ugly face. The seeds of hate that gave rise to the Holocaust are still with us. Survivors, citizens of France and other countries are targeted because they are Jewish. The discriminations based on religion and ethnicity are roaringly on the rise. The voices supporting a highly corrosive, historic revisionism are becoming increasingly powerful. New anti-Semitism is a challenge to the entire international community. Anti-Semitism is a common problem for all of us. We must remain vigilant even today when hatred is spread as a political program. Anti-Semitism and other forms of racism are a threat to freedom, humanity, and the dignity of difference. To those who seek the destruction of Israel and the Jewish people, we say, never again.
We must combat together all forms of anti-Semitism with all our might. We will continue to be vigilant to all forms of hatred. We expect all the world to unite their efforts in confronting these threats. We cannot allow anti-Semitism and Holocaust denial to threaten our democracies. Anti-Semitism must be fought against unanimously and with all our efforts. Remembrance, education, and research are essential to stop anti-Semitism and hatred. Remembrance and education are at the heart of efforts to make intolerance a thing of the past. High-quality education is a key means of preventing anti-Semitism. We make sure that the tragic history of the Holocaust is told in every school. We must reject hatred and embrace hope. Remain steadfast in efforts for promoting dialogue, mutual understanding, and human fraternity as the basis of lasting peace. Together, we will fight anti-Semitism, racism, and Holocaust denial. Only together, we ensure that history does not repeat itself.
"75 years after the liberation, we stand together, remembering the past, committed to the future. This is our promise."
Welcome again to the State Dinner on the occasion of the 5th World Holocaust Forum. The World Holocaust Forum, organized by the World Holocaust Forum Foundation, together with Yad Vashem, under the auspices of President Rivlin, marks the International Day of Commemoration in memory of the victims of the Holocaust and 75 years to the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau. The State of Israel is deeply honored that so many world leaders have come to take part in this forum and to ensure that we turn the memory of the past into a promise for the future. It is my great honor to invite our host, His Excellency Reuven Ruvi Rivlin, President of the State of Israel, to give the opening address. President Rivlin will deliver his address from his seat.
Thank you. Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, all the presidents that came to us, I would like, on behalf of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Speaker of the Knesset Yuli Edelstein, President of the Supreme Court and Chief Justice Esther Chayut, Foreign Minister Israel Katz, IDF Chief of Staff Aviv Kochavi, members of Knesset, former IDF Chief of Staff Benny Gantz, Mayor of Jerusalem Moshe Leon. Well, on behalf of the State of Israel and the people of Israel, welcome to Jerusalem. Thank you all for being here. This is a historic gathering, not only for Israel and the Jewish people, but for all humanity. This evening, as we remember the victims of the Holocaust and World War II, we also mark the victory of freedom and human dignity. Tomorrow, we will gather at Yad Vashem to remember and to promise never again. Yad Vashem is a leading center for Holocaust research and education, guided by historians. Historical research should be left to historians. The role of political leaders, of all of us, is to shape the future, leave history for the historians. Tonight, we will have the honor of hearing Professor Yehuda Bauer, academic advisor to Yad Vashem and one of the world's leading Holocaust experts. At a time when more and more survivors are leaving us, this gathering is an expression of our shared commitment to pass on the historical fact and lessons of the Shoah to the next generations. Your Excellencies, dear friends, the future lies in the choice we make together as countries and nations. I hope and pray that from this room the message will go out to every country on earth that the leaders of the world will stand united together in the fight against racism, anti-Semitism, and extremism. In defending democracy and democratic values. This is the call of our time. This is our challenge. This is our choice. Thank you again. Thank you again to each and every one of you for being here with us tonight. We will have the honor this evening to hear from His Majesty, King of Spain, who will speak on behalf of the leaders here tonight. Thank you to Yad Vashem, to the World Holocaust Forum and Dr. Moshe Kantor, to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and to all his workers, and to all who helped organize this event. Thank you, and may God bless all of you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We will now hear a musical performance of the song Ha'acharon Shenish'ar, The Last Survivor, composed by Amir Benayoun and written by Moshe Klughaft. The song is a moving tribute to the survivors of the Holocaust, who serve as a living link between the world that was destroyed and the world that has been rebuilt. The song will be accompanied tonight by violin with a very special story. The violin belonged to Yitzhak Reider, a talented musician who lived in Warsaw, Poland, at the outbreak of the war. Yitzhak would secretly play together with a German friend so that the Nazis would not find him. That friend smuggled him to Belarus with the help of a forged passport. After hiding in an underground pit in Belarus, Yitzhak was forced to flee the Nazis once again and made his way to Moscow. The violin was left behind. In 1973, a stranger showed up at his door and returned the violin. Through music, Yitzhak rebuilt his life, becoming a noted professor of music, starting a family, and eventually moving to Israel. Yitzhak's entire family were murdered by the Nazis in the Warsaw Ghetto and in Auschwitz. The song will be performed in Hebrew and English by three of Israel's leading musicians, Amir Benayoun, Miri Masika, and David Daor, The Last Survivor.
but all of them still living in my soul. I stayed alive, but inside already dead, and under my pillow still hiding a piece of bread.
נותרתי אדם כשהייתי מספר כיכר הלחם אצלך בתפריט ואצלי תמיד מתחת לכרית
ובמרוץ השליחים נותרתי לבד הלפיד עובר עכשיו מיד קחו ממני הכל, אני עושה הכל, אתם תשארו כאן כדי לספר, כדי לספר.
I stayed alive, but inside already dead, and under my pillow still hiding a piece of bread.
אני האחרון שנשאר, חוזר עכשיו אל מחוזות העבר.
ובמרוץ השליחים נותרתי לבד, הלפיד עובר עכשיו מיד ליד, וממילא כל הנשנה הבוער, אתם תישארו כאן כדי לספר, כדי לספר. At me now, I was only a number, but always stayed human, begging me to care.
מיליוני עיניים בוהות בי עכשיו, איך אוכל לוותר?
אני האחרון שנשאר כדי
David and the band. The first course is about to be served. Bon appetit. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to invite His Majesty, King Felipe VI of Spain, to deliver an address on behalf of the leaders attending the forum.
Good evening. Your Excellency Reuven Rivlin, President of the State of Israel, Your Majesties, Your Excellencies, Chief of State and Government, Your Royal Highnesses, Your Excellencies, Chairman of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great honor, and I am humbled to take the floor this evening when we gather for tomorrow's 5th World Holocaust Forum, a remarkable assembly of world leaders committed to memory, to a just cause, and to a moral obligation. Thank you, President Rivlin, and thank you for your wise words, always a source of inspiration. I am sure each one of us here would have many and very deep thoughts to express in this historic event. I will only modestly try to condense some of them, and I truly hope you feel represented. 75 years later, the world does not forget. The world still remembers and commits to be vigilant. This is what this impressive gathering here today has decided to state with firmness and clarity. Our great Jewish thinker, Moses Maimonides, born in Sepharad, in the city of Cordoba, wrote in those Middle Ages, following the steps of other outstanding thinkers, all the great evils which men cause to each other originate in ignorance. Indeed, humanity has suffered its darkest hours when millions of innocent lives from many walks of life and countless communities have been made to disappear abruptly, violently, by blind, perverse, and ignorant hatred. Because there is no greater evil than that which stems from ignoring that all women and men are equal, and that every single human being is endowed with the greatest dignity. People cannot show greater recklessness than when they think they are above others, when they feel entitled to discriminate, to condone intolerance, or to promote resentment against others for political gain, religious extremism, or racial hatred. But we can find the remedy to such malicious and immoral disregarding of the dignity of the other, first and foremost in the example of those who have suffered from its murderous enmity. I am sure Professor Bauer and Dr. Cantor will speak to us on this matter 1,000,000 times better than I ever could. And tomorrow at Yad Vashem, we will have the honor to meet some of the survivors of the death camps. For decades, these men and women have enlightened us on the importance of keeping alive the memory of their terrible experience. Forgetting the Shoah would not only dishonor the memory of millions of victims, but would also be extremely dangerous. However, we know well that in spite of all the painstaking effort by those who gave us, or still do today, their personal testimony, or from their relatives, of all the powerful inspiration this brings to us, remembrance alone is unfortunately not enough. We also know that barbarism can grow when least expected, even amidst advanced technology and culture. We're never fully safe from it, and in different degrees we still see it today hitting hard in different parts of our world. We just cannot look the other way. We need to persevere in implementing, teaching, and living by the principles and values of the International Bill of Human Rights. We have come today, Mr. President, not only to show our respect for survivors and our repugnance for what happened not that long ago in Auschwitz, Birkenau, and many other places. We are also here, perhaps primarily, to show our unyielding commitment in bringing all the necessary efforts of our respective countries in order to fight the ignorant intolerance, hatred, and the total lack of human empathy that permitted and gave birth to the Holocaust. Because preventing those civilizational sicknesses is a collective but also an individual responsibility. There is no room for indifference in the presence of racism, xenophobia, hate speech, and anti-Semitism. Disturbingly, we are currently witnessing a surge of hideous attacks on Jews in several parts of the world. So many times in history, animosity against Jews has shamefully proven to be a symptom and a crude example of intolerance and aversion towards the different others. Having a precious, rich, and complex Jewish past and a vibrant Jewish community, Spain decided to create a solid framework of rules and initiatives to fight relentlessly against anti-Semitism and every form of xenophobia and racism. There are, of course, many more nations, both present here and others, that are making similar efforts and progress. But while I remain optimistic, I know, we all know, that we will always need to persevere together so that those words we have repeated so many times, never again, remain our guiding and unwithering principle. Never again. Leolam lo od. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Majesty. It is now my honor to invite to the podium Professor Yehuda Bauer, Professor Emeritus of History and Holocaust Studies at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, academic advisor to Yad Vashem, and one of the world's foremost scholars of the Holocaust.
Mr. President, Royal Highnesses, Excellencies, friends, why did World War II break out? Well, because Nazi Germany wanted it. Why? By 1936, German industrial production had reached the 1929 pre-crisis level. Unemployment had been more or less eradicated, and millions of workers were now bringing home wages, so the internal and external markets were rising. Why then war? Because, they say, the Nazis thought that Germany needed a living space, a Lebensraum, to get the grain, the coal and the iron of the Ukraine and the oil of the Caucasus. But Germany was getting all it needed from the Soviet Union anyway. Was then the Lebensraum propaganda a cover for some real reasons? I think so. Here is an answer. In October 1936, Hitler announced the start of a German four-year plan, with which he charged his number two, Hermann Göring. 2 months before that, he prepared this move in talks with Göring. Göring wanted written instructions, and Hitler in August 1936 gave him a memorandum. The first page was an explanation why a plan was needed to prepare Germany for war within 4 years. The crucial sentences were these, quote, "Since the beginning of the French Revolution, the world has been drifting with increasing speed towards a new conflict whose most extreme solution is named Bolshevism, but whose content and aim is only the removal of those strata of society which gave the leadership to humanity up to the present and their replacement by international Jewry. I, Hitler, wish only to record my conviction that this crisis cannot and will not fail to arrive, and that Germany has a duty to make its existence secure by all possible means, for a victory of Bolshevism over Germany would not lead to another Versailles Treaty, but to the final destruction, even the extermination of the German people, Ausrottung des deutschen Volkes. This was not propaganda. It was not intended for publication, but was an instruction from the dictator to his number two. It was quoted at the Nuremberg trials and published in its original German version by the German Federal Republic in 1977. Its message is perfectly clear. War is inevitable. The enemy is Bolshevism, which is Jewish, and which wants to subject all of humanity, not just Europe, to international Jewry. A central Nazi motivation for the war was a hatred of Jews, anti-Semitism. No mention of a living space there. Obviously, because the Ukraine and the Caucasus were in the hands of Bolshevism, which was Jewish, and the victory over Bolshevism, that means over international Jewry, would in any case mean German rule over the Lebensraum. Where, will you ask, are the Jewish capitalists of the West? Hitler gave an answer to that. In his speech to the Reichstag on January 30, 1939, there he said, I quote, "Today I will once more be a prophet. If the international Jewish financiers in and outside Europe should succeed in plunging the nations once more into a world war, as we all know, World War I was caused by the Jews, right? Then the result will not be the Bolshevization of the earth, and thus the victory of Jewry, but the annihilation of the Jewish race in Europe, die Vernichtung der jüdischen Rasse in Europa. So, the Jewish capitalists rule the West, and what they want is the victory of Bolshevism. The result will be the annihilation of the Jews. It is perfectly clear that this was no propaganda, but a deeply held belief that demanded action to prevent the physical annihilation of the German people at the hands of the chimera he and millions of others believed and still believe in, of a secret cabal, of an invented international Jewry that controls both East and West. ISIS and Qaeda disseminate this today. World War was the result, at least in large measure, of this ideology. The war, as we all know, caused some 35 million dead in Europe alone, of whom some 5.6 to 5.7 million were Jews who died in the Holocaust. But some 29 million were non-Jews from Europe and North America, who died in large part because of the hatred of Jews. And the majority of these victims were Soviet citizens. Anti-Semitism is not a Jewish illness, but a non-Jewish one. It is a cancer that kills and destroys your nations and your societies and your countries. So there are, my friends, 29 million reasons for you to fight anti-Semitism. Not because of the Jews, but to protect your societies from a deadly cancer. Don't you think that 29 million reasons are enough? Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Bauer. The next musical performance, Dance Me to the End of Love, was written and composed by one of the most important and influential creators in recent history, Leonard Cohen. Cohen explained that he was inspired to create this emotional song by the stories of the Jewish musicians who were forced by the Nazis to play in the death camps. This is the inspiration for the lover's call in the song. Dance me to your beauty with a burning violin. The song will be performed by leading Israeli artist Shlomi Shaban, whose grandmother, Helena Adler Moskowitz, was a survivor of Auschwitz. At Auschwitz, she was sent to work in the kitchen camp, where she was able to smuggle scraps of food to other inmates, helping them survive. My great honor to invite Shlomi Shaban and his band to the stage.
Thank you very much. On the canoe, Ariel Cassis. On the violin, Karen Tenenbaum. On the bass, Gilad Abro. Drum, Erez Monk. Dance me to your beauty with a burning violin. Dance me through the panic till I'm gathered safely. Lift me like an olive branch and be my homeward dove. Dance me to the end of love. Dance me to the end of love. Oh, let me see your beauty when the witnesses are gone. Let me feel you moving like they do in Babylon. Show me slowly what I only know the limits are. Dance me to the end of love. Dance me to the end of love. Oh, dance me to the wedding now. Dance me on and on. Dance me very tenderly, oh, dance me very long. We're both of us beneath our love. We're both of us above. Dance me to the end of love. Dance me to the end of love.
Oh, dance me to the children who are asking to be born. Dance me through the curtains that our kisses have outworn. Raise a tent of shelter now, the
to the end of life. Oh, dance me to your beauty with a burning violin. Dance me through the panic till I'm gathered safely. Touch me with your naked hand, or touch me with your glove. Dance me to the end of life. Dance me to the end of life. Dance me to the end of
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to invite the founder and president of the World Holocaust Forum Foundation and president of the European Jewish Congress, Dr. Moshe Kantor, to present the commemorative gift which will be given to the participants in the forum.
Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, 15 years ago, I founded the World Holocaust Forum because I saw that anti-Semitism was not just a ghost of the past, but a shadow hanging over the future. Our only insurance that these atrocities will not be returned is to learn the lessons of the past and, of course, the disaster of the Holocaust. One of these lessons was clear to me. Only by uniting did the leaders of the free world succeed in defeating that evil. Only by uniting again will they win once more. Annually, the world leaders are gathering in Davos to discuss the state of global economy, and in Munich to discuss the global security. They should also come together
to discuss the status of global morality. But the question is, where? The answer is obvious. We have to know the direction from any point of entire world to the place which is symbolizing our mutual, immortal moral values. This place is with no doubt the golden city of Jerusalem. So, the World Holocaust Forum will grant to every leader the Jerusalem Navigator, a very special device which can show you the direction to Jerusalem, not only from your national capital, but also from any capital of the world. An individual Jerusalem Navigator will be delivered tomorrow to each of you. But today, with your permission, and on behalf of the World Holocaust Forum, I am going to give the Navigator number 1 to our dear host, to the President of the State of Israel, Ruvi Rivlin, for his outstanding contribution to organizing and leading the World Holocaust Forum.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dessert will now be served.